Good afternoon from Buffalo, everybody. Some of you may know me. My name is Rex. Yes, I am a gay 6-year-old man. I live in Buffalo, New York. I knew pretty young that I was gay. I would say 4 or 5. I come from a family of 10 children. I have 8 brothers and 1 sister. 2 of my brothers are no longer with us. We grew up in a modest home in the south side of Chicago. I would say we were like lower middle class. I had a pretty decent upbringing. My father was a very strict Roman Catholic military man. So some of you that are my age understand what that meant. Um, I went to basic public schools. I had friends. I liked to play sports and baseball and all the things that little boys do and guys do. I had a lot of fun with it. But once I started hitting puberty, things started changing for me quite a bit. Um, I pretty much knew I was gay younger, but as I hit puberty in junior high, we did relocate to Buffalo, and that was a very awkward time for me. I had a hard time fitting in. A lot of the guys weren't accepting of me. My growth did not go fast. So just the fact that I was dealing with sexuality issues and changing life and losing my friends, it was definitely a rough time for me. But I did work through it. Um, I've always been attracted to older men. That was my thing. I know it's the same thing with many guys out there. I tell you, at one time I thought I was on an island by myself because I used to think, geez, not only am I gay, I am not attracted to the guys my age at all. I like much older men and gray in hair and hairy and husky guys. I just love to look at them. And I really, at one point in my life, thought I was dealt a double-edged sword. Not only am I gay, I only am attracted to older men. Um, my first sexual encounter was actually with a woman. I left home quite early. I couldn't wait to get out of the house. I moved in with some coworkers. One of them was a woman. She was a little bit older than me, and she approached me about having sex. I was a virgin at the time, so I figured, why not? I kind of knew I was gay. I mean, I definitely knew I was gay, but I figured, why not try it? Maybe I can go straight. Who knows? Because in the 70s, late 70s, you guys know that being gay really wasn't accepted. And it's not something you really talked about with your friends. You didn't, bring up, hey, by the way, I'm gay. It just didn't work that way for me. Most of my friends were straight. I hung around straight guys, and that's just how it was. Um, I had sex with Beth. It was okay, but I knew something was missing. Um, I followed the personal ads. I did. I stumbled across them, and then I said, "Hey, maybe I can find something through one of these." So I did write out some letters. This is how we connected back then, and I did meet a guy and had my first encounter. It was very awkward. We stumbled around. It was mostly oral sex, and I'll be honest with you, I did not really enjoy it. I figured there's got to be a better way to meet guys than this. But I didn't know what to do. I was scared to death to go to the bars. Around the time I was 23 or 24, I got a job in a restaurant. There was a man there, his name was Joe. And Joe was about 55. Joe was a very sharp dressed man, beautiful silver hair, just gorgeous. He always wore awesome colognes. I just loved the smells of them. And when he was interviewing me, I was actually getting excited. I really wanted that job, and Joe did end up hiring me. I had worked there for about 2, 3 months, and one of the cooks approached me and said, be careful of that Joe guy. And I asked him, well, why should I be careful of Joe? Joe's been nothing but nice to me. And they says, be careful of Joe because Joe is gay. Well, needless to say, when I heard this, I was floored. I went home and my mind was just racing. So I didn't know. I just couldn't breathe. I was like, this guy is like the man of my dreams. I just thought he was gorgeous. And now I find out that he's also gay. Over the next month or so, when I was working with Joe, we would exchange like little banter back and forth. He would say, cutesy things like, "Oh, those pants look great on you, Rex." And I'd say, "Well, geez, they look a lot better on you." We were always joking about it, but wasn't sure where it was going to go. Finally, one night arrived, and it was late, and Joe was closing, and he asked me to stay after work to help him close because he wanted to teach me how to close the restaurant because he wanted me to be what they call a key holder. So I did stay, and I was working the register that night, cashing it out, and Joe came up behind me and kissed me on the neck. Um, I turned around real fast. I was he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I should have done that." And I reached in, I says, "No, I'm glad you did that." Um, Joe was the first love of my life. I loved Joe to death. I loved him for a long, long time. We had an on and off relationship, and what I mean by that was we really never lived together full time. Joe had a sister that would come home in the summers. She did not like his lifestyle, and she made that very clear. Joe was kind of in the closet with his family, and at that time I was too. I had an apartment not far from him, but we ended up going together on and off for a good 7 years. Um, Joe eventually passed away, unfortunately. He had a heart attack and he died, and I was absolutely crushed. I mean, beyond belief. To this day, I still feel it. Um, what made it worse was when it came time for the wake. Got cleaned up and dressed up and was going to go to his wake, and his sister's two children stopped me at the door and told me that I am not welcome to be there. And they said, "And do not come to the funeral either, or there will be consequences." Um, I was no pushover at the time, I'll be honest with you, but I knew it was probably better to just walk away for him than make a scene because I was ready to fight. I was that mad. I was going through a lot of emotions. Um, it was a strange time for me because after that, I really went into a dark place. I really dove into work. I took a job that had me relocating all over the East Coast, and I just worked, and partied and worked. I really wasn't even dating anybody at that time. I would do hookups here and there, but it was a very, very tough time for me. I finally decided to quit that job, and I moved back to Buffalo right around my mid to late 30s. And I was having some problems with alcohol and just, the repercussions of just 10 years of debauchery. Um, I decided it was finally time to approach my family and tell them that I was gay. I was very, very nervous. I remember coming home to see my mom and dad, telling them I'm moving back to Buffalo, and they were very happy. But I sat them down. I says, "There's something else I need to tell you." And to say that they were accepting is an understatement. My mother told me she had already known. She had known all along. So I guess what they say, mothers always know. Well, my mother already knew. My father gave me a big hug, and I'll tell you one thing: that one big hug killed a lot of animosity that me and my father had built up against each other over the years. And from that day on, we actually became great friends. We loved golfing together. We really started to bond over sports, and it just really mended a lot of fences. My parents went ahead and told all my brothers and my sister, and, there was zero backlash. It was probably the most liberating experience of my life, and I'm so glad that I finally did it. I wish I would have done it earlier, but everybody has to walk their own path. It was really liberating for me to finally be out. I do have a circle of friends that I've been around for quite some time, they're not so accepting of the gay lifestyle. Uh, Buffalo is not the most openly gay place like San Francisco or Palm Springs or New York City, where there's pockets of places you could just go and be yourself. It does have a small gay community, but I just never really clicked with them because I do like older guys. I finally was going to the bars, but what I was finding was the bars were more young guys, and there was not really a lot there for me. Um, I met a man who was a college professor. He was married, and he was just a lovely, lovely man. And we had a relationship for about 7 years. I would say he was probably my second love, but we had to kind of part ways because he was getting very, very serious, and he wanted to leave his wife and his kids for me, and I didn't want any part of that. Did not want to break up a family. The consequences of his actions would have been very detrimental. It could have crushed him financially, and I just didn't want that. As badly as I wanted to be with him, I just thought it was the wrong time and the wrong thing to do, and I had to back off him. Since then, again, I meet guys online and through silver daddies and hookups here and maybe date a guy for 2 3 months there. Yes, those things did happen to me. But strange thing with me is, as I've said earlier, most of my friends are straight. I do not have a lot of gay friends, if any, in the area. I run around with a group of guys that are all married or divorced or dating women, and I fit in, but I also have that part of my life that's missing. I can't talk openly when I see a guy or something like that, but I do have a very, very good friend. Of course, his name is also Jack. Uh, I met Jack when I moved back to Buffalo in my 30s. Jack was a very attractive man. Um, I saw him, the first time I saw him, I just was whoa. And I kind of approached him because I'm in sales and I'm very talky. And this was a sales job that I was working at with him. And we started hitting it off and we went out for drinks a couple of times. Jack was dating a woman. And one night I did approach Jack and asked him if he would like to fool around. And Jack wasn't vehement about it, but he just said, Rex, I'm not gay. Unfortunately, I am just not gay. But what he did say to me, but it's okay if you are. It doesn't change our friendship. Me and Jack are still friends to this day, and I can tell Jack anything. And when I tell you I can tell him anything, I can tell him anything. Jack knows that I like older men. Jack knows that, everything that's going on in my life. We talk to each other twice a day. I guess he's kind of like my gay, straight boyfriend, or whatever you want to call it. And we have a strange relationship because it's almost like we are dating, but we're not. We're just best friends. And I'm very, very blessed to have him in my life. Um, he even knows the type of men I like. Guys will walk into a bar we're at. He goes, "Hey, Rex, there's one over there. Maybe he's for you." He's always asking me how I'm doing, and we support each other wholeheartedly. Everybody in this world has to walk their own path. I guess I choose to be around straight men because I'm comfortable with it. I adapted to it. I am gregarious. I'm loud. I'm jovial. I love to laugh. Uh, if you watch any of my TikToks, you'll know I'm just a goofy bear. Uh, Over the last decade or so, I've really become into my own. I have tried a lot harder to seek out a partner and friendships and things like that. Uh, as of recent, I will tell you, TikTok has completely changed the way I look at things. The whole universe of people out there I've met, and just the response I'm getting, and it's really, really helped me, come to grips with my sexuality and just go out and do what I want to do, and just, I really don't care what anybody says. I never really did, but I also kind of kept it quiet. I guess how my story is right now is, and this is going to be pretty wild. I met a man about a year and a half ago through the Facebook and social media, and we just started chatting and messaging and playing games on there together. And I met a bunch of guys on TikTok from Palm Springs. I've heard about Palm Springs and how wild it is down there, and how, open everything is. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go down there. After I turned 60, that was going to be my gift to myself. I was going to take a trip to Palm Springs and meet up with some of the guys I met on TikTok and some other friends. And I also was going down there to meet my friend Jess. Jess and me have been pretty much online dating at this point for like 9, 10 months. And it's good. Jess is 70. He's very, very attractive, and I'm very attracted to him. So I went down there, and Jess offered to put me up, so I said, I'll definitely stay with you. And at that time, things were getting a little serious between me and him, but not as serious as I thought. Once we connected at the airport, Jess came all dressed in Buffalo Bills gear, and that was a big yes for me. I had the biggest kick out of it. And then as we walked up to his house, I looked at the welcome mat, and it was a Buffalo Bills welcome mat. And then when we got inside, he had a Buffalo Bills pillow on the bed for me, and he's just, the guy really rolled out the red carpet for me. I didn't realize how much Jess really, really cared for me until we spent this last, week or so together. We really, really have bonded. And I am here to tell you that me and Jess are engaged. I am going to move to Palm Springs soon. This is a chapter of my life where I get to be the lucky one. We love each other very, very much. We always have. I understand a lot of people out there say, are you going too fast, or are you sure you know this guy? Well, let me tell you something. When you turn 60 and the other guy's 70, the clock's ticking. It's time. If you're not willing to take a chance or risk things, then you're never going to see the rewards. And I'm going to take a chance. And I love this man very, very much. And this is the part of my life where I get to be happy. I mean, I have a million stories about, things that I've done with other men. I'm pretty reserved. I'm not a guy that really sleeps around. I've always been looking for Joe. Joe was the love of my life, and I was always looking to replace him. And I think I finally found my Joe in Jess. And I look forward to spending my later years in life with Jess. I want to thank all you guys for listening to me. I know I'm a little goofy. I talk a little bit too much. But I'm just me. And that's all you guys can be. Don't fear. Just go out there and get it. So, that's about it, guys. I love you. Go Bills.